Paul, which is a great name, in Edmonton, Canada, writes, the Carver Challenge. Hey, back in the 80s, as you likely know, Bob Carver issued a challenge to any audio publication, stating that he could sonically match the sound of any amplifier using his modest $700 amplifier, and in a blind test, it would be indistinguishable from the other amp. Both Stereophile and The Audio Critic took up the challenge, and both later admitted that Bob had succeeded, as they could not hear the difference between the expensive amps and his own. My question is, if it is in fact the case that a modest amp can be made to sound like one much more expensive, are there any downsides? For example, is reliability or the ability to power a tough load compromised? No. But let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about what did Bob Carver actually do, because that is a legit thing that happened. I was right in the middle of it, not involved, but I mean, I read about it. I certainly know Bob Carver, and Bob Carver is one of my heroes. I love Bob. He's absolutely great, genius. And here's what he did. Bob knows that something called the null test can be effectively used to null out differences in equipment. So how does a null test work? So a null test basically takes two amplifiers, we're going to just use amplifiers as an example, and they put it into a difference amplifier with a scope hooked up to it, okay? And when you put the same music, and he used music, so he had his favorite track, he put on a musical piece and gain matched both his amplifier and the fancy schmancy amplifier, which was a big tube amplifier. Was it Audio Research? I don't remember, but I remember it was a vacuum tube power amplifier. And gain matched the two, put it into a difference amplifier, and then on a scope looked at the difference, right? So assuming that A, which is our reference amplifier, is what you want to achieve, then all you have to do is know enough about your own design to start tweaking to get that null lower and lower and lower. Not the null, but the difference between the two, and null out the difference. Okay. So Bob, being the smart guy that he is, had a whole bunch of trim pots inside of his amplifier, which was a solid state amp. And those trim pots controlled the gains, the amount of feedback, the various stages, the amount of distortion. I mean, you know, he could control pretty much anything in that. And he took one night of, I think he had 24 hours, and I think he might have stayed up all night, and he kept tuning and tweaking his amplifier to where, when it came down to it, there was almost no difference in this null test between the fancy schmancy amplifier and his. Now when they listen to it on music, you're not going to hear a difference. And they didn't. Later, others did, but not by very much. And Bob went on to take that design, and he built, I don't remember which product, he's had so many products. He just said, okay, that's a great sounding amplifier, let's put it out, and he did. And it sold pretty well. So are there any downsides to it? Well, it's not the way I would go about designing an amplifier, but it was a fascinating challenge that he succeeded at, and a fascinating way to look at it. And we've certainly used null tests before to help us in our design efforts, and it's a good, valuable tool. I don't think anything was compromised in terms of reliability and power and all that, to answer your question specifically, but it is a fascinating part of audio history, and I'm glad I had a chance to share it with you. All right, thanks.